Welcome back. It's estimated that 6.7 million Americans aged 65 and older are living with Alzheimer's dementia. That's 118,000 people just here in North Carolina, and that number is expected to rise up to surpass 200,000 by 2025. So this is something we definitely need to go talking about, and that's why we have the Alzheimer's Association's Eastern North Carolina chapter's Executive Director Lisa Roberts here today, in addition to chatting about the not one, but the two upcoming walks to end Alzheimer's.
Hi, Natalie. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for having us.
Of course.
We're excited to be in North Carolina. And to offer 17 walks in North Carolina.
Wow.
In the eastern side, upcoming in October, we have the New Bern Walk on October 21st, and we have the Jacksonville Walk on October 14th. And it's the walk to end Alzheimer's.
So why are you doing two different walks in these? Is there any reason in particular why you chose these communities to do it?
Yeah, these communities, we really want to make sure that we have outreach into all of the communities. We, as you know, North Carolina is a rural state, and we don't want to leave any community behind. So these were some of our larger markets, which also feed into some of our counties where we have underserved and more rural participants. So we're excited, and they're beautiful communities on top of that.
So for anybody who's never been to one of these walks, in comparison to other walks that we hear about, how does this compare? Tell me kind of about what goes on at this one.
I'll tell you, the walk to end Alzheimer's, I was involved because I have a personal connection to the disease as well. And the walk was a way, it's like the largest support group where you're around people who understand what this devastation is, this disease. And it is unique because it has a promise garden ceremony. So everyone has a reason to end Alzheimer's, right? But the promise garden is the ceremony that you pick a representative flower for what your connection is to the disease. So if you have Alzheimer's or another form of dementia, you'll have a blue flower. If you have lost someone, unfortunately, to Alzheimer's or another dementia, you'll have a purple flower. And if you're a caregiver, where caregivers are our heroes, you'll have a yellow flower. And maybe you have no tight personal connection, but you know this is the 6th leading cause of death. And you know that, 1 in 3 seniors dies of a dementing illness, and you know that, and you want to be an advocate, then there's an orange flower. So there's literally like a flower for everyone. So it becomes a community of people who understand about this disease and can support each other and raise awareness and funds so we can find a cure.
That's really special. And then you mentioned a little bit earlier when we were chatting about how Alzheimer's is one of the forms of dementia, and sometimes there's a little bit of a confusion there. Why don't you speak a little bit about that?
Sure. Natalie, it's one of the questions that if we're out doing a community presentation or just, I'll wear my shirt to the supermarket and somebody will come up to me and say, oh, my parent has dementia. And dementia is really an umbrella term that it encompasses cognitive brain conditions, degenerative brain conditions. So thinking, planning, logic, all of that. Dementia is like saying someone has cancer versus someone saying they have prostate cancer or leukemia or lymphoma. Those are all forms, unfortunately, of cancer. And Alzheimer's disease is the most common form of dementia, 60 to 80%. But you also have Alzheimer's with Parkinson's. You also have Lewy body, frontotemporal dementia. So there are several types, but Alzheimer's makes up about 60 to 80% of dementia.
Do we know who would be most at risk for it?
Age is our greatest risk factor. So everybody, it has a reason to end Alzheimer's. But typically it presents after age 65, but there is a form that people are getting called younger onset. And in North Carolina, we have, as you mentioned, over 180,000 North Carolinians with Alzheimer's or a form of dementia. And we also have, 200,000 nationwide of those who have younger onset, meaning they presented with Alzheimer's disease younger than the age of 65.
Like how old are we talking about?
We have reports of people in their 20s, with Alzheimer's disease. So it's literally, people like to say, oh, it's an old person's disease, but truly Everybody has a reason to preserve their cognitive health. We have a reason to look for new treatments. We have a reason to find a cure, you know.
So getting back to the walks, if people want to go checking these out, does it cost anything to participate?
Doesn't
Where can they
cost-
go to sign up?
Great question. It doesn't cost anything. Registration is free. However, we do encourage, obviously, self-donations. And you can go to alz.org/NC, and you can literally, this is our nationwide fundraiser. So if you're here in Greenville, but you have families in Rhode Island, we have a walk there. We have walks there. We have walks in New York. We have walks in Wyoming. So it's nationwide. But if you wanted to see North Carolina, you can just go to alz.org/NC and put in the state, and you'll see all 17 of our walks in North Carolina.
Sounds simple enough. And thank you so much for coming in and chatting with us. And once again, this is the Alzheimer's Association here in Eastern Carolina. And definitely go considering taking a walk at their Walk to End Alzheimer's. We'll have more information over at WITN.com after ENC at 3. We'll be right back.
Thank you.